Today we're watching racism in the anime community makes no sense.
When you get isekai'd into this world, you don't have a choice as to what class you are. Some of us pop in as a mage, some of us pop up as a brawler. Me, I ended up as black. As you all probably know by now, this class is a pretty controversial one. Some might even say that it has the highest difficulty level out of all the classes. But despite all of these things, I love being black. I also love anime, and nothing will ever change that, but for some reason it feels like there's a lot of people that don't want any individuals of my skin color to be a part of anime culture. I feel like more than ever in the 21st century, there's a racist epidemic spreading like wildfire amongst people who don't even really care and just want to make edgy jokes, and it's affecting all corners of the internet. Now, you guys see my channel, alright? I'm not a super political guy. I make irreverent comedy videos about Japanese media, but with all the racially charged events that have been happening lately with ICE and the president of this country, and with all the politics going on in the nerd community itself, I thought this would be the best time to make a video about racism in the anime community and how it makes absolutely no sense. There's one moment that I remember vividly to this day. I was sitting on the couch in my living room watching Naruto Shippuden, and my dad walks by and makes a comment. "Why do you watch all of these whitewashed cartoons? I've never seen you watch anything with black people in it." And to that I respond, "These characters aren't white, they're Japanese." At this point when I said this, Naruto himself was on the screen, which gave this guy the perfect ammo. He says to me, "There's no way you're gonna tell me a character with blonde hair and blue eyes is Japanese." And at that point, I was stuck. Little 14-year-old.
Why your dad do you like that? Cause your dad did you cry. Yo, it's asking you hard-hitting questions while you're 14. Cause I like the show, Pops. Damn.
Me didn't know how to respond to that. Comments like that made me think of how black people were depicted in Japanese media in the 90s, where rather than just being a regular character with black skin, they were more like caricatures of what the mangaka thought black people looked like. The most famous examples are characters like Staff Master Black, Mr. Popo, and Choco Love McDonald. What the fuck is that name? They all kind of had the same features: black skin and comically large lips. Now, it's no secret that black people in the real world have larger features, but I think it's more so the big ass lips that piss people off. It was way too reminiscent of the classic blackface. Now, do I believe these mangaka are inherently racist? No. Back then, the population of black people in Japan was lower than my credit score, not even reaching the thousands. Also, social media wasn't as big of a thing as it is now, so a Japanese person could probably go their entire life without seeing a black person. So I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it wasn't necessarily racism, but more so just misinformation, depicting black people how white people would depict us in their media. Another reason is that a lot of anime characters are incredibly white passing, which makes it a lot easier for lighter skinned people to see themselves in these characters. Not to mention that some of these stories don't always take place in Japan. While yes, most of these are fictional settings, some of these stories do mimic places like London, or even older civilizations like Rome, which are of course predominantly white. This made it really easy for new fans to
Oh my gosh, this is how they were coming back in the day?
Exclude black people from the equation. I think another reason for this racism has to deal with how children,
whoever the fuck did this nigga's haircut, I don't give a fuck who you are, what you are, the barber, the nick, cause no, black on black crime at this point. But bro, there's no way. There was no way
were ostracized for liking anime at such a young age. From my experience, I wasn't able to find too many other black children that were interested in anime the way I was. And most of the color kids that saw I was interested in that stuff would say things like, "Oh, you like that weird white people stuff," which caused a schism between many black children and their culture. But nowadays, it's a lot different. There are so many black and brown people coming out and expressing their love for all things anime and manga. And crazy impressive strides are being made in the community, like DreamCon, an anime convention for black people by black people. But
damn, I didn't get this frame. Hold on.
Community like DreamCon.
Yo, he was so lit in the anime house. Like, what's his name? I forgot his name. From Cowboy Bebop. Bro, he was so lit in the anime house. Woo!
An anime convention for black people by black people. But more importantly, the people who actually make anime and manga have become more inclusive and have since added way more black representation. And that leads into my next point.
Spike.
Messages about equality and accepting people no matter the size, shape, or color are plastered throughout the most popular anime and manga. There are so many examples of this, but I want to focus on one of the most popular series of the modern day, One Piece. In One Piece, there are clear themes about accepting people for who they are, and instead of judging them by race, you should judge them by their actions. This is especially apparent with characters like Arlong and the entire fishman population, with fishmen being discriminated against for being different from the human race. They are seen as inferior and even used as slaves. Of course, there are martyrs that try to advocate for fishmen and mend the relationship with humans like Queen Otahime or Fisher Tiger, but they're ultimately killed for their progressive behavior. And as this hate persists, it indoctrinates the youth like Arlong and Hody Jones to become products of the racism that plagued their country, retaliating against humans in any way they can. The most important part of this is that the way Eiichiro writes this is to clearly show that racism, bigotry, and hating people because of something they cannot control is wrong and evil. This is shown by Luffy, the main character, not only defeating racism on the fishman side, but the human side as well. And remember, One Piece is one of the most popular stories in the history of stories. And yet there are people that will partake in this racist behavior and still be fans of One Piece. If Luffy existed in real life, y'all would get the Charlos treatment. Not to mention that these themes are also plastered in almost every other anime story, like Attack on Titan, Naruto, Jujutsu Kaisen Mojo, Full Metal Alchemist, Beastars, Code Geass, Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Maggie, Black Clover, Mobile Suit Gundam. Jesus Christ. Do I have to say more? But somehow racist.
Honestly, I think you may. You may need to say a little bit more. A couple more. Because there's a lot of niggas in the back who aren't gonna listen to you, bro. You need to name off at least 3 more.
Racism still runs rampant in the community. I don't get it. Like, it truly doesn't make any sense. One of the most recent victims of this vitriolic behavior is Ashley Gail Paxton. Ashley was a 19-year-old black UCLA student that found joy in cosplaying her favorite anime and video game characters. She amassed a pretty big following under the handle Squid Kid 1111 for her pretty accurate cosplays. However, she would receive a bunch of racist, bigoted, and overall nasty comments because of the color of her skin. Comments like "Migga," "Blacku," and "Shark nigga." I know most people wouldn't show the comments, but I think it's important to see because it stresses my point that these people are being edgy and racist because they want to be funny without any regard for the person behind these comment sections. She would end up taking her own life. It's truly a tragic story for someone so young. But I don't only want to focus on the negatives. Let's be progressive. It seems like these bigots don't want us to see.
No, R.I.P. R.I.P. I didn't, damn. That took a crazy turn. I was not prepared for that. Oh my gosh. R.I.P. 100%.
Ourselves in any of these characters, and they also feel like these characters shouldn't be depicted in blackness, and specifically blackness, because I rarely see any hate for the Mexican Freerin memes. In any space, black people have always had to kick down the door and let themselves in despite what any racists have to say, and that's no different here. We have to stop begging Japanese people to give black people more representation, and we have to be the ones to represent ourselves. One thing I can say about the black anime community is that we're always begging for representation, but then we overlook the actual black creators that are giving us exactly what we want. There are people that are actually making strides and already putting us first in their original creations. If we want to see more representation, the best way to get it is to make it ourselves. And even when they hate on that, that just exposes them for being extra evil and racist. Fuck them niggas, we ball. Go support professional stories like Half Is More by Yoko Fujimi, who is actually a mixed race black and Japanese mangaka. Go support stories like Clock Striker and Apple Black, both written by black authors, Frederick L. Jones and White Manga. Very ironic name choice, but I promise he's black. There's even smaller creators that create amazing colored manga. Ruthless Render by DD Mark, Golden Mist by Red F Manga, and even me with Crystal Wars, link in the description. At the end of the day, we have to be the change that we want to see, because no matter how much it doesn't make sense for people to be racist in this community, that's always gonna persist against black people. With everything that's going on, us black nerds have to band together. That's why we have to support things like RDC and DreamCon. We have to support the indie mangaka that are representing us in their works. And we also have to support the actual profession.
I almost got too late. Gacha Okuda's this woman. I do anything for this woman. She lit as hell, boy. On everything, she lit as hell. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Whew. What?
No Japanese mangaka like Kei Urana that puts tons of black characters in their work. As long as we continue to...
That woman is lit as hell. I'm standing on that. But I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Tell me what your guys' favorite anime is, favorite manga is, favorite black anime, and like black character is too. In any representation of media, I'll definitely say it's Shorty in Gacha Okuda, the woman with the glasses, baddest in the show, 100% hands down. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Sub up, like up. Let me know everything in the comments. Tell me what else you guys would like me to watch, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.